Stephen A. Smith, First Take, Big Perk, all together came on today and gave huge compliments towards Caitlin Clark, huge praise. And not only there, they were on Twitter as well, giving love to Caitlin Clark, and people seem to not like it, man.
When Stephen A. Smith walks onto the First Take set fired up, you know something major is coming. But on this day, it wasn't about LeBron James or Kevin Durant. It wasn't even about the NBA. It was about Caitlin Clark and the way she's flipping the entire sports world on its head. That was just the beginning. Kendrick Perkins leaned in and co-signed the hype, but in his own way, with a raw edge and respect that only a former NBA big man can bring. It wasn't just praise, it was a cultural moment. The energy on First Take felt different. Clark wasn't just the topic of the day, she was the future of the WNBA, and maybe the most important rookie the league has ever seen. One thing Stephen A. doesn't do lightly is throw around the letters MVP. But when it comes to
She is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially MVP.
But when it comes to Caitlin Clark, he didn't hesitate. It might sound wild to some, but let's break it down. Clark is bringing a level of national attention to the WNBA that's never been seen before. And she hasn't even played a regular season game yet. She's selling out arenas, driving jersey sales, shattering app downloads, all before stepping foot into her rookie year. When two of the loudest voices in sports media agree this strongly, it's not hype, it's prophecy. And Clark's already proving she's got the game to match the moment. What makes Caitlin Clark a generational talent isn't just her skills, it's her impact. Stephen A. laid it out. Clark is redefining what it means to be a star in women's sports. The Indiana Fever, once irrelevant on the national radar, are now the hottest ticket in the league. ESPN is moving WNBA.
In her rookie campaign, it was immediately after she had gone to the national championship game in the NCAA tournament, and then less than 2 months later, she's got a WNBA season where she started and played all 40 games, finished as a unanimous Rookie of the Year, all WNBA first team, finished fourth in league
ESPN
MVP.
is moving WNBA games to primetime slots. Her preseason debut, trending worldwide. This isn't just a moment, it's a movement. And Caitlin Clark is the spark that lit the fire. Let's talk hoop. Because for all the hype and headlines, Caitlin Clark's game is the real deal. Clark's playmaking is elite. Her ability to find open teammates from impossible angles makes her the most dangerous passer in the league already. And when she pulls up from the logo, defenses are forced to stretch beyond their comfort zone. Clark's game translates because it's modern. It's fast, smart, and fearless. And in a league where spacing and shooting are more valuable than ever, she's built to dominate. But greatness always comes with a price. And as Stephen A. and Perk pointed out, Caitlin Clark already has a target on her back. Let's be real. Some of these WNBA vets ain't happy with all the attention she's getting. They're gonna come at her hard. But guess what? That's what stars deal with. And I think she's ready. The physicality, the pressure, the spotlight. Clark will face all of it. But if her college career taught us anything, it's that she doesn't back down. Clark isn't just stepping into the league, she's stepping into a storm. But from what we've seen, she might be the lightning inside it. Caitlin Clark's journey is just beginning. But if Stephen A. and Kendrick Perkins are right, we're witnessing the birth of an all-time great. From the NCAA scoring record to leading Iowa to back-to-back Final Fours, Clark has already rewritten the college game. And now, she's poised to do the same in the WNBA. We're not just watching a player, we're watching a movement. Caitlin Clark is the face of the next era of basketball.
MVP. I think she's ready. She know it's her second year. She know what type of physicality it's going to take. Look like she's always in great shape. Never afraid of the moment. Again, we're talking about Caitlin Clark here. The spotlight been on her for years. She's not going to shy away from it. I expect her to be in the MVP conversation.
Basketball.
Well, let's start with
period. Stephen A. didn't just throw around compliments. He declared Caitlin Clark as a game changer who has single-handedly shifted the narrative around women's basketball. He broke down how Clark's presence has created a ratings boom across NCAA and now WNBA broadcasts, pointing out that networks are now investing more in women's games because of her influence. The fact that ESPN, ABC, and even non-sports platforms are fighting for broadcasting rights speaks to her market power. Smith compared her to the likes of Tiger Woods in golf or Serena Williams in tennis, someone who brings casual fans into the fold and elevates the sport itself. Perkins didn't mince
So
words.
let's start with our 2025 WNBA MVP, and that has to go to the one and only Caitlin Clark. You can say I'm glazing, you can say I'm hyping her up too much, but I truly think that this second year for Caitlin Clark is going to be like nothing we have.
Words.
You got it.
He said Caitlin Clark could become the face of the league. Not just the Indiana Fever, not just a top rookie, but the person who defines the entire WNBA era. Perkins emphasized her crossover appeal. How young girls, college students, and even NBA fans are tuning in because of her. He noted her charisma, court vision, elite shooting, and competitive fire as a once-in-a-generation combination. In Perk's words, the WNBA hasn't had this type of face since maybe Lisa Leslie or Diana Taurasi in their peak prime. Stephen A. went deeper than basketball.
You got a girl here who's box office in Caitlin Clark. She is box office. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is Caitlin Clark is box office. And we got to get that out the way. And I'll get into all of that a little bit more in just a second because it's very, very important that we point this out. She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. It's
But
what
in
she's
basketball,
talking about.
he spotlighted how Caitlin Clark is impacting media narratives and culture. From SNL skits to late-night talk shows, Clark is being discussed in places where the WNBA previously had no footprint. Smith even referenced how TikTok, Instagram Reels, and ESPN highlight reels are now flooded with Caitlin Clark content. He stressed that what Steph Curry did for long-range shooting in the NBA, Clark is now doing for the WNBA and women's basketball in general. Perkins calls out old-school WNBA players for jealousy in a bold segment. Kendrick Perkins went after some veteran WNBA voices who've criticized the media hype around Caitlin Clark. Perkins said plainly, "Some of y'all sound bitter." He argued that rather than tearing her down, veterans should celebrate that Clark is bringing more attention and money into the league, which benefits everyone. Perkins reminded them that Clark's fame brings bigger TV deals, higher salaries, and more endorsement opportunities for all WNBA players, past and present. Smith also defended Clark by pointing out that the pressure on her is unprecedented. He mentioned that no male NBA rookie...
about her. And who's to say they ain't gonna lose again and not win a championship? We're still talking about her. Remember, when Bird and Magic, as phenomenal as they were, the champions that they were, there came a point where despite the greatness of them as individuals and the greatness of their teams collectively with the Hall of Famers they were playing with, we were still talking about Jordan. Before he won the title, Tim, am I lying? Wendy, am I lying? We were talking about him. When's his time? Because we were clamoring for it. And I'm telling you, that's what people, when it comes to women's basketball, are going to be doing with Caitlin Clark.
No male NBA rookie has ever been expected to carry an entire league's brand, elevate viewership, and simultaneously win games with a young rebuilding team. Stephen A. criticized the unrealistic expectations and said that Clark should be allowed to develop just like any other rookie, without being attacked for every mistake or rough shooting night. Perkins didn't just say she's talented, he made a bold prediction that Caitlin Clark will win WNBA MVP within her first 3 seasons. He argued that her combination of stats, leadership, and box office appeal will make her impossible to ignore. Perk backed this up with projections: double-digit assists, 20-plus points per game, and a playoff berth for Indiana Fever within 2 years. And with those numbers, voters and fans will rally behind her quickly. In his most passionate moment, Stephen A. issued a direct challenge to the WNBA league office: protect Caitlin Clark on the court and promote her off it. He emphasized that the league must ensure she isn't targeted with overly physical play that could risk injury or derail her development. Off the court, he said the WNBA should treat her as the marketing golden ticket she is. That means putting her front and center in national ad campaigns, All-Star Weekend promotions, and media events. Smith warned that wasting this opportunity would be one of the dumbest moves in sports marketing history. Kendrick Perkins praised Caitlin Clark's leadership, comparing her to the likes of Chris Paul and Magic Johnson. He emphasized that Clark isn't just out there for highlights. She commands her team, talks to her teammates, brings energy, and holds herself accountable. Perk noted how rare it is for a rookie to come into a professional locker room and instantly change the vibe. He called her presence transformational, saying, "She's not just hooping, she's leading." Stephen A. Smith got poetic saying Caitlin Clark plays a beautiful brand of basketball. He emphasized that the aesthetics of her game, her logo threes, no-look passes, and deep range are attracting fans who previously didn't watch the women's game. Smith argued that part of her appeal is her style, which makes fans feel something. He connected her to players like Allen Iverson and Kyrie Irving, who mesmerized fans with flair as much as skill. Perkins made it a point to acknowledge Caitlin Clark's toughness. He referenced how she plays through contact, keeps getting up after hard fouls, and never complains. "That girl got dog in her," Perk said. He pointed out how other rookies might fold under the physicality she's facing from WNBA vets, but Clark keeps her head up and keeps firing. This toughness, he argued, will earn her the respect of even her biggest critics. Stephen A. talked about Caitlin Clark's international appeal, pointing out how fans from overseas are tuning in to watch her games. He mentioned how young girls in Europe, Asia, and Africa are now sharing Clark highlight videos and replicating her step-back three in training sessions. Smith argued that Clark is more than a US sensation. She's global. And that kind of reach is something the WNBA has never fully tapped into until now. Kendrick Perkins also dug into Clark's work ethic. He mentioned reports of her being the first in the gym and the last one out, even during training camp. Perkins said that greatness isn't just talent, it's repetition, obsession, and consistency. He even said Caitlin's work ethic reminds him of Kobe Bryant's mentality. She ain't just showing up to cash checks, she's in it to dominate. Stephen A. issued a passionate plea to WNBA legends, respect Caitlin Clark's journey. He acknowledged that many paved the way, but insisted that Clark isn't disrespecting the past. She's building on it. Smith argued that tearing her down only alienates new fans and creates unnecessary division. "Why not lift her up?" he asked. "If she wins, the whole league wins." Perk applauded how Caitlin Clark is already building chemistry with her Indiana Fever teammates, especially Aaliyah Boston. He said the duo reminds him of classic guard big combinations like Stockton and Malone or CP3 and Blake Griffin. He called her unselfish and focused on making her teammates better. Perkins predicted that if they stay together, Boston and Clark will form one of the most dangerous tandems in WNBA history. Smith pointed out how Caitlin Clark isn't just transforming the league, she's reviving franchises. The Indiana Fever, a team that was nearly invisible in national media, is now a headline attraction. Ticket sales are up, merchandise is flying off the shelves. Clark has taken the team from irrelevance to the epicenter of the sport. "She's doing what LeBron did for Cleveland," Smith said. "That's how powerful her presence is." In a moment of blunt truth, Kendrick Perkins simply said, "She's the real deal, period." He recounted all the criticisms, too small, too hyped, can't handle pro-defense, and dismissed them after seeing her live. He praised her poise, her passing under pressure, and her basketball IQ. "If you doubted her," Perk said, "you're just hating. She's that good." Stephen A. closed with a vision that Caitlin Clark could lead the WNBA into a golden era. He predicted rising salaries, bigger endorsement deals, more primetime games, and packed arenas, all sparked by the momentum she's generating. "This is a moment," he declared, "and the league better ride this wave all the way to the top." Kendrick Perkins called Caitlin Clark a culture shifter, saying she's not just changing how people watch the game, she's changing how people talk about it. He noted how ESPN, Bleacher Report, and other media outlets are treating women's basketball with the urgency and importance usually reserved for NBA stars. Perkins emphasized that Clark has disrupted the old norms and forced the industry to pay attention. "She flipped the script," he said. "The culture different now because of her." A. Smith emphasized that Caitlin Clark's dominance isn't limited to the hardwood. She's also winning off the court. From magazine covers to commercials to partnerships with Nike and Gatorade, Smith said she's mastered the modern athlete brand blueprint. He drew comparisons to Serena Williams and Steph Curry, calling Clark a marketing juggernaut, and noting that her off-court success is drawing new fans into the WNBA ecosystem. In one of the more real moments of the segment, Perkins called out the jealousy surrounding Caitlin Clark. He acknowledged that some players, media personalities, and even fans resent the attention Clark is receiving. But Perkins defended her fiercely, saying, "Don't blame her for shining, blame the system that wasn't ready for a star like her." He urged people to stop nitpicking and start appreciating greatness as it happens. Stephen A. pulled out the data, record-breaking NCAA Finals viewership, massive preseason WNBA streaming numbers, and packed Indiana Fever practices. He described Clark as a walking ratings machine, saying networks are adjusting their schedules around her games. He argued that she's now the most bankable name in women's sports, and maybe all of basketball. "The cameras follow her," Smith said. "And when they follow her, the money follows too." To wrap it up emotionally, Perkins talked about how Clark is inspiring the next generation of hoopers. He shared a story about his own daughter watching Clark play and saying, "I want to shoot like her." Perkins teared up, saying, "That's what greatness looks like. It makes people believe." He said Clark has already done something many athletes spend their whole careers chasing. She's become someone to look up to. And there you have it, two of the most influential voices in sports media, Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins, not just acknowledging Caitlin Clark's greatness, but declaring it boldly on national television. They're not just praising her stats or her shooting range, they're celebrating her impact, her ability to move culture, shift narratives, and force the sports world to stand up and take notice. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing in the WNBA, she's elevating it, she's transforming it. She's bringing in fans, attention, and money, things that change leagues forever. And with every game, every Logo 3, and every fearless moment on the court, she's reminding the world that women's basketball is here, it's real, and it's powerful. If Stephen A. and Kendrick Perkins see the MVP-level greatness, the cultural revolution, and the future she represents, maybe it's time the whole sports world does too. So whether you're a long-time WNBA fan or just tuning in for Caitlin Clark, one thing is clear. This is just the beginning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with Stephen A. and Perkins? Is Caitlin Clark the face of the league? Let's talk about it. Until next time, stay locked in.